Who is this man? I really need to sort all of this out in my head. Who is he? It all started back at the boats. I am a fisherman by trade, as is my brother. 6 days a week, we take our boats out into the sea and we cast our nets. We haul in the fish. Some days are good, some days not so good. In the end, God provides and we feed our family. That is all we can ask. And then one day, this man approaches us and he says, "Follow me." And the next thing I know, my brother and I lay down our nets. We leave our families, we leave our father's business, and we follow him. There is a group of us who have gathered around. There are many who come and go, but there is a core of 12 who he has taken in and named as his apostles. He teaches and we listen. He speaks so strangely, not as strange as in he says weird things, but he teaches us and says these things about God in a different way. Well, we grew up with the traditions of our people. We are Hebrews, the chosen ones of God. We know our stories and we know the law. And yet, he talks about God, a relationship with the Father in a way that we have never heard before, and yet it sounds so right. He tells these stories, these parables, so everyone can understand and relate. And then sometimes after the crowds have left, he explains things further to us. Then there are other signs. One day we were leaving a city, and there at the gate, begging, was old, blind Bartimaeus. And he cried out, and they tried to stop him, but he cried out all the louder, "Son of David, have mercy on me." He turned around and went to him. He spoke with him. And Bartimaeus could see. He brings the sight to the blind. He makes the lame walk. There was this other time when he was teaching, and the crowds kept growing. And he's teaching, and there's so many people. And we were like, "Master, they need to go home. It's getting dark. They need to eat." And he said, "You feed them." And, well, we don't have any money. We left our business. We left our possessions when we followed him. One of us found a boy. He had 5 barley loaves and 2 fish. We took them to him. And suddenly, we were feeding 5,000 people with abundant leftovers. Who is this man? He asked us what others said about him. And we replied, some said Elijah, others John the Baptist returned. And then he pressed us. Who do you say that I am? Well, I immediately stood up and said, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." And he praised me for this. But then just a moment later, he rebuked me for standing in God's way. We went up to the mountainside to pray. He often took James, John, and I with him when he prayed. And while we were there, he changed. There was this blinding light. His clothing became whiter than white, like nothing I have ever seen before. And suddenly, Moses and Elijah appeared with him. And I thought, in our tradition, maybe we should build booths for them, put some tents up for them. I mean, There was Moses, who led God's people out of bondage, and the great prophet Elijah. What would you do if the two of the greatest figures of your history appeared? Wouldn't you want to honor them? But all at once they were gone. And I heard a voice. It said, "Listen to him. Is he truly who he says he is?" Well, now things have gotten so much more confusing. We entered Jerusalem, and it was a festive atmosphere. People were lined up all in the streets, and they wanted to see him, wanting to touch him. They were throwing their cloaks on the ground and waving palm branches and shouting, "Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord! Hosanna!" And in just a few days, the world has caved in on us. We were celebrating the Passover meal together. And he said the prayers, starting with the traditional prayers, but then he changed them. Talked about his body and his blood. And he was speaking about being separated from us and suffering. He told us that I would do something that I would never do. We would always follow him, or so I thought. And later on, Judas, one of the 12, one of our friends, one of his friends, betrayed him. When the soldiers came to take him away, we all wanted to fight, but he said no. And they arrested him. And I stand here now trying to figure all of this out. But I know, deep in my heart, I know I would die for him.
You there. You're a Galilean. You were with him.
For the last time, I don't know the man.